Well, so my name is Dave Musambi. I'm the Senior Director of Business Intelligence at the Canadian Football League. I'd say, in our words, business intelligence is a bit of a catch-all for everything data related. So I oversee a team of data engineers, analytics engineers, and at times we kind of masquerade ourselves as data scientists as well, really with the journey of modernizing how we think about data and technology across the entire Canadian Football League. The Canadian Football League is the second largest football league in the world. We comprise of 9 teams, almost coast to coast, from BC all the way to Montreal, and hopefully a 10th team. In my role, basically, I oversee our league-wide data platform that's inclusive of all important data assets across customer data from all of our 9 teams, in addition to the CFL League office as well. So that's a little bit about my role and also the Canadian Football League, which is a very fun, exciting football league here in Canada.
I can imagine it's definitely one of the really interesting pieces of users that we see around Zing, and very happy to be a part of this journey with you. So, if you could kind of get me started really with the current projects that you are working on, what are some of the key things that you're working on, and what are the problems that you're trying to solve with data right now?
Yeah, I think overall, like this year has been a very interesting year for us. Last year we spent a lot of time just getting our platform up and running. We're on Snowflake. We also work in AWS, and really last year was a lot of data engineering work just to get data into our platform. This year, the biggest focus and shift was really around activation. How do we start to use our first party data to better understand our fans, better segment our fans, and better personalize their experience? So with that initiative, a little bit of work needed to be done to really focus on how do we make it actionable and accessible across the organization and trustworthy. So our largest project this year has definitely been our Customer 360 initiative. Really thinking about it from a league-wide standpoint, right? So for our league, there's not, like I said, there's 9 different teams. There's a league office as well. You can buy tickets to one team. You might buy tickets for another team as well. You might also interact with the league digital products, some of the products that are built for fan engagement, in addition to buying merch, right? So there's a lot of touch points that happen in a sports environment, and we're very lucky to have fans and not just customers. And really the difference there is that traditionally a customer might just transact with you, but our customers, they paint their faces, they show up in uniform, in jersey, and are very avid. And that's great from a data perspective because you learn a lot about your fans. The challenge is stitching all that information across all these various data sources that can come in from ticketing, that can come in from our email engagement, that can come in from e-commerce, it can come in from our fan engagement products like our fantasy and pick'em. So there's so many touch points and so many ways to get into the funnel, making it very difficult to very much consolidate that information, really understand and measure and follow the customer journey. So our largest project has really been around our Customer 360. How do we better understand our fans? And we have a bias towards open source tools to do that. We do the same from an ELT standpoint, and also from a Customer 360 standpoint as well, really leveraging open source ELT tools. So our largest project to date, if I'm biased, I would say it's our Customer 360 initiative.
So obviously, I mean, I kind of love that difference that you made between a customer and a fan, and I can imagine that the love and trust with which that data also has to be handled. Yeah, hats off to you on that. And like when you talk about this data, right, and you're talking about activation, would you like to kind of touch upon some of the users of this data? Like you've talked about the applications, but who are the users essentially who will consume this data?
Yeah, primarily we're serving our marketing teams, right? So our marketing teams being able to better understand our fans, better reach out to them, right? If you are a fan of the league and you've been maybe around for the last 30 years versus someone that's a casual fan, that is just being introduced to the league for the first time. These are two completely different personas, right? And we want to better understand what serves one group versus the other. So primarily it's marketing, really understanding the contents of our data, what data we have available, who are our fans, and then being able to deliver custom messages to them. The example that I often see in my inbox is organizations that maybe don't do this to the best degree. And I've got my Gmail account. I also have my CFL account. I also have my San Diego.edu account. And at times you get three different offers or three different messages in your inbox because, well, humans are unpredictable. You never know what account you're going to use for, whatever instance. We really don't know rhyme or reason as to why I might use my Gmail account or my, previous school account. So I think being able to deliver consistent message across all platforms is very important, and ensuring that we have the right data to make informed decisions for our marketing team is really what's driving our use case for data.
Okay, so that sounds pretty interesting. And would you like to share a bit about the kind of stack that you have right now? You mentioned Snowflake, but what are some of the other pieces that you've chosen and why?
Yeah, so it's definitely gone through an evolution, our data stack, but at the core, Snowflake has really been our core data platform. From an ELT perspective, we've done a little bit of everything. We've done Stitch, we've done Fivetran, and this year we started migrating over to an open source solution via Meltano. So that was a very exciting project for us to complete earlier in the year. Um, in addition to that, we use RudderStack for a customer data platform. So a lot of the segments and a lot of the profiles that we derive, we want to be able to activate against them via our customer data platform, which is RudderStack, which we onboarded earlier in the year as well. And then from a reporting standpoint, we use Tableau, and our cloud platform is AWS. So we have a hybrid data platform. We think about our data science use cases as something we could potentially leverage in AWS, in our data lake in S3, or in Snowflake, but we definitely wanted to have that flexibility once those more advanced use cases for data do come to fruition in the years to come.
Okay, thank you for that. And I would like to kind of learn a bit more about the Zing journey that you've embarked upon. I know we've been in touch for a long time, and we talked about almost 1.5 to 2 years back, just when I had open source Zing. So, where exactly are you at right now, and what has been your, uh, whatever's been your journey right now?
Yeah, we definitely go a whiles back, and as the common thing for me for finding new technology is on Reddit, and I believe I was looking for a solution that would offer customer 360, and I stumbled across a Reddit thread that mentioned Zing AI. It fit the use case of kind of what I like in terms of the optionality of building it completely open source, or obviously through you with your cloud product, and I knew that we had a very specific fuzzy logic based implementation that was required, right? Deterministic for us would do well, but people that are in the sports industry and especially in the ticketing industry understand that there is a lot of dirty data. And for us to fully understand our fans meant we needed a little bit more sophistication with what we'd implement for a customer 360 model. So our journey has been very interesting. We've started using Zing AI in conjunction with some other products as well for deterministic matching in addition to more fuzzy based matching. And I think some of the results that we've seen so far are very promising. Profiles that otherwise wouldn't consolidate into one are consolidating into one. We have a lot more confidence in the results when leveraging something like Zing AI compared to when not. I think a rough estimate, we've looked at the number of profiles that consolidate into, or number of rows that consolidate into one profile that have differing emails, and that's at least 10 to 15% of our records, right? So those are 10 to 15% of your records that would otherwise go unmatched, which is very exciting to see kind of the early result with Zing AI. In terms of, my biggest fear always is really around, um, you know, I think about simplicity, I think about cost, and I think about scalability. And I read your article that you released on LinkedIn not too long ago about the journey of optimizing Zing AI from, you know, computing directly in Snowflake in over 24 hours to less than 20 minutes. And we've seen those positive results as well. So that has been a very important key milestone in our journey because, you know, like I said, cost is very important, scalability is very important. And, you know, with a lot of that being managed by Zing AI, simplicity comes to mind and gets ticked off as well. So very exciting journey thus far.
Thank you. It's very nice to hear that, and glad that you are enjoying your use of Zing. I think that's very important to us. Uh, in terms of in terms of like feedback or anything else that you would like to add, what are some things that you would like to see in Zing?
Yeah, I think the journey with Zing so far is, I mean, we're seeing a lot of improvements and new releases over time, and I think the thing that we're trying to crack at the moment is really around persistence, persistence of our IDs, especially in these incremental runs. How do we
Yeah.
ensure that new new rows of data, new users come into the ecosystem can be matched with a persistent ID in place so that we can leverage that ID across all of our marketing tools. One of the tools that I forgot to mention is Braze. Braze is our customer data platform or our customer engagement platform, right? Sits on top of Snowflake, sits on top of Rudderstack, and being able to have that persistent ID across all of our activation channels is something that we're looking to crack. And of course, we always welcome Zing AI support in cracking that code because that's often a big challenge when you think about customer 360 is how do we ensure consistency and persistence of these IDs being generated. But thus far, our earliest win has been around performance, and that's what we're very happy with.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. And in terms of like you as a data leader, like if you hear other data leaders who are thinking about Customer 360, what are some key pieces, from your journey that you would like to share as advice or lessons or just feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for us, our our infrastructure was really set up to leverage something like a Zing AI. When we think about the different layers that we have in our Snowflake data warehouse, we have our ingest layer, all of our raw data, untouched. We've got our clean layer, where we do a lot of our data cleaning, right? So when we're dealing with emails, trimming white space, lowercase as well, first name, init cap, right? So it's in title case. A lot of the work that we did directly within that clean layer helped prepare us for something like a Zing AI. There is data cleaning that comes out of the box with Zing AI, but to standardize your data as much as you possibly can in a clean or otherwise similar layer is very important. So when thinking about implementing Customer 360, definitely think about data consistency as much as you possibly can. Think about validation roles directly in a layer that it's applicable to, because that will only improve some of the results that you have come implementation.
So, and in terms of like you mentioned that the marketing is the main use case that you have, but I'm very curious to understand from you, like there's lot of discussion about a composable CDP and off the shelf CDP, and you didn't choose a CDP in this case, or are you choosing a CDP in this case? And really, what as a person who's like in the thick, not a vendor, really, what is your take on this topic?
Composable or legacy, or for lack of better terms. Well, I get excited with building things, so I naturally have a bias to a composable CDP. But when I think about from a CFL specific standpoint in terms of why we went composable versus using, some of the providers that have been around for a little while, is that a lot of the services offered by a CDP were redundant in our use case. We're very much a unique setup in the sense that we have 9 different organizations, which are our member clubs, with very different ownership structures. So, as an example, you might have one organization that is a single privately owned club. You might have an organization that is owned by the community, and you might have an organization that is in addition to owning a CFL team, they're multi-property, right? They might have a NBA team or an NHL team, etc. So ELT is really a service offered by these providers, right? Okay, you've got data in Shopify, let's pull everything out. But we are very data engineering focused within our team, almost by default. A lot of the ELT tools out of the box just don't work for our use cases because in the example of I'm dealing with a multi-property organization, I can't just pull everything out of their system. I can't pull everything out of Shopify. One of the most complex engineering efforts that we had was our multi-tenant Shopify integration. Okay, you might have a product that's CFL related, but also MBA related. Before that data lands in our data lake in AWS, we are removing the non-CFL related products. We are readjusting the total order of that value, the total quantity, the tax rate, etc., before it ever lands in for security reasons, right? We want to protect that information as best as we can. You can't do that in an off-the-shelf CDP, right? You're pulling everything or you're pulling nothing. So by default, our single source of truth was in our warehouse in Snowflake. Um, the conversations that we had at that time trying to make an off-the-shelf CDP work really gave me concerns in terms of scalability, in terms of real-time aspect and being able to keep that in sync. And we ran into RudderStack as a solution when I was at the Snowflake conference, and it made perfect sense. So for organizations that have already made that investment in data engineering, that have their data into a single repository, be that Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, etc., I think a natural extension of your infrastructure is further owning it and going composable and utilizing tools like you know Zing AI here for Customer 360 to better leverage the data that you have. Um, so I think ownership is very important for us, scalability, and avoiding a black box, which oftentimes that could be. They have worked for a very long time. I think there's a place for it as well. If you don't have specialized data engineering talent and you want to get up and running, they still have a place in the market. But I think for organizations that have taken that path forward in terms of owning their infrastructure, composable is a route that I'd recommend.
Okay, so that is really a great piece of advice and how to go about things. And I really hope this is going to help other people who are thinking along similar lines and facing the same problems. So thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for sharing your views and your knowledge with us. And I wish you all the best with your data journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonal. Really excited to be here to chat with you, and hopefully, this has been, a good opportunity for other people to listen and hear the journey of the CFL. For us, this is very exciting because you look back a few years ago, we're not expected to be in a call with great minds, such as yours, or presenting at conferences at DBT, but we've moved very fast, and Zing AI is a very exciting product that we're excited to integrate directly into our platform. So thank you for having me. And as always, hope to hear from you soon and chat with you in the days to come.
Thank you. We're very excited to be working very closely with you. So thank you again.